and they don't know anything about being a lover, or very, very little. You know, there's something that they watched in a film, in some stupid film, or they heard about in music, but they really don't have any skills like the kind of skills we're talking about that you developed, you know, at a very early age. So I just want to say that because I think it sets the backdrop for where you went from there, you know, which is an amazing transition.
Oh, well, luckily, I before I joined the military, I had a foundation in the Hawaiian shamanistic art, the Huna, but all that did was give me an ability to know energy better, and I could heal, but I really didn't have the skills to relate, and I think that's a big thing that's missing for a lot of people.
Can you say just a little something more about that practice so that I can know what it is?
Sure.
That Hawaiian practice.
Yeah, it's called Huna, which is from the Hawaiians. That you've heard of a big Kahuna, right? You've heard of that term, like
right.
Kahuna.
Right.
So kahuna
everyone has big Kahuna, sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So a Kahuna is nothing more than a practitioner of the art of Huna, and there was Kahunas for farming and for surfing, and there was also Kahunas for healing and magic. And so I went down the path of healing and magic. So I was really initiated into a very deep lineage, and I'm still very much a part of it. But what's interesting is that there was many people that told me you carry the healer energy in you, and I didn't know what that meant. And so actually, the best I could do with it was, that means I'm a protector of the healers. That's what I'm a warrior of the healers, I guess.
Wow.
So Lori, does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
That's right.
I can identify with all of it because I feel, you know, everything you're saying, you know, warrior, goddess, protector of healing, protective healers. Sure, Sean. It's very, you know, it's familiar to me. Listen, I had fantasies too of wanting to be, I once dated somebody who was an Army Ranger.
Yep.
And I was really jealous. If I tell you the truth, I was really jealous of things he did. I was jealous of rappelling down mountain ranges, and I was jealous of his weaponry, you know, artistry, and I was jealous of a lot of things. There was a part of me that I would have loved to have experienced that in a certain way. So, yeah. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that's where a lot of us might come from in this place. And so back then, again, it was the only way that I could merge the two together at any level for my head to actually grasp it. The first duty station that I had was in Las Vegas, Nevada, at a base called Nellis Air Force Base. And what was interesting is that that's where I started to think outside the box. And actually, there was a store there called the Psychic Eye Bookstore, and that was before, you know, psychic, esoteric bookstores were really readily available all over the place. But this one was actually a superstore of like psychics and crystals and all this other kind of stuff. And I used to go in there on the weekends, and I'd just get lost in there, and I felt really at home, even though I had the military haircut and I was in the military. I would still hang out there, but I would never tell anyone that I was doing that. It was almost like I was in some sort of porn shop or something, as far as I was considered. Like, no one that I worked with would know that I was going to the Psychic Eye Bookstore.
Right. I can understand that. It would be frowned upon.
Yeah. So I was really in the closet, if you will, when it came to my energy work and my ability to be a magician, if you will. So then I got transferred from Vegas to England, and something really amazing happened there. Because of this opportunity, the United States government paid for me to learn how to be psychic.
Oh,
Your
wow.
tax dollars, my tax dollars, support training on psychic warfare and psychological ops. And so what I learned how to do was to stand outside of a building, project myself into the building, and actually find where there might be targets.
That's amazing. And my mouth is, you can't see me right now, but my mouth is dropped to the floor.
This This is going
That's
on
amazing.
all the time.
And I know about this stuff, but it's so amazing that you got to participate in it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I did. And I was handpicked to do that. And it was a multi-joint force task type training that happened. And it was really weird. But what happened was that I learned some very, very, very cool things, that for my own life. And the biggest one that I learned, which really set the stage for some other things in my life, is that there's things that go on in this life that I may not know about, but if I get out of my way, I'll experience them.
Wait, say that again. If I go out of my way, what?
If I get out of my way.
Oh, get out. Okay.
If I just get out of my way, I'll be able to experience the madness of life. That my abilities will actually expand more than I could ever imagine. And the whole training was nothing more than pretend. Pretend you can do that, Ruth. Just keep pretending you can do it. And then all of a sudden, I just got out of my way. And even though I was in my mind pretending that I was doing something, I was getting up to 90% accuracy when I would actually be able to identify targets within a building. That's amazing.
Yes.
And
it's
so
really,
it's
very big. You're proving something here. It's kind of like proving something here that lots of people without science, without a scientific background, don't want to hear about, but you're actually justifying something that plenty of people today believe, that they can read things, they can hear things before they happen, they can sense things, and that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. So with that being said, that kind of opened me up, and then I got a little more exposed to some other things while I was in England, because England's has a different society, different culture. I opened myself up more and more because I was outside of the American society. When I got out, in 94, 95, was right on the edge there. When I got out, I was really, ready to go back to the police academy. I was ready. I had done my service. I had become an anti-terrorism sniper, so my job was to snipe other snipers, and I had excelled at it. I had reached the top of what I could do, and I got out. And no one could understand why I was getting out, but I was like, because I'm not happy doing this, because there's a lot of mess in the military, a lot of overspending, and the missions were a disaster. It was like, why am I fighting for something I really don't believe in? And that's what happened. So I got out.
So you
and I
had a change of heart. You had a big change of heart there.
Big time.
Seeing the reality. It's one thing to have a theory, it's another thing to see it.
Totally. Oh yeah. When you're looking at movies, like you were talking about in your intro, everything seems pretty groovy and everyone's on task and the vision seems pretty clear. When you're there in reality, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
And I was happy to get out of the Air Force.
How did things change up for you and have your interest, aside from the fact that you had the Hawaiian healing and you were learning all this psychic stuff in England when you were there? How did it gel? How did it come together?
Well, when I got out of the military, I wanted to become a law enforcement. I wanted to go back in law enforcement, but fate had another deal for me, and the week I was supposed to go in the police academy, I slipped on some Haagen-Dazs that was spilled at a mall and broke my hand, and I missed that academy. And because of that, I got finagled into my family business. My mom and dad had a business in Orange County in Laguna, where they had a toe ring store. So actually I stepped away from all that warrior stuff. But what's interesting is that one thing that I missed was the camaraderie. And so then I jumped into martial arts and, was actually, quite successful in the martial arts. I joined Taekwondo, got my black belt, and I was, competing and fighting, in Taekwondo and was pretty successful at that, for quite a while. So the warrior in me continued. And then I learned defense. So now I'm playing with swords and I'm doing martial arts and competing in both of those. And then I started playing ice hockey, and that's a pretty violent sport. So I just kept going with it. It was so funny. Even though I wasn't involved in things, I was still in that competitive or aggressive mentality. I was sweet. I mean, I'm a sweet guy. I was never like, a jerk or anything like that. But what I was doing was playing with it like a cat with a mouse. Like I was goofing with it, but at a distance. And then I continued to have relationship woes, and then I heard about Tantra and decided to see if that could possibly help me. And I was in a 3-year relationship that was really boring and non-romantic, and I thought the sex issues were because of me and my ability and skills to be sexual and to be a sex master, if you will, was so far away from my ideas. And so I actually booked a Tantra session to help me learn how to give more to a woman. And I got something far different.
I just have to say that I love that about you, that you decided it was you.
Yeah.
That's another rare thing, Sean. I mean, that's another rare quality for a man to decide, okay, I'm going to go find out about this. I mean, I guess it comes from the fact that you became so highly trained and you're not opposed to training. But still, I'm making the point because there are so many men who feel it's her fault. It's the woman's fault. She's, if she wasn't so moody, or she didn't have her menstrual period, if she didn't have these things, she would be less bitchy, easier to deal with, and she'd definitely be a better sex. There'd be better sex. And you're saying you went and you sought out training for yourself, which I commend you, and I feel that it's definitely needed and necessary, and I love that you did it.
Thanks for that, Lori. I appreciate that. And it was a big turning point for me, because what I got from it was not so much that I needed to learn skills how to please another person, but what I needed to do is how to learn how to please myself, so that I wasn't coming across as needy, because that's what I was doing. Again, it was so codependent. I was in such a codependent cycle that there was no room for me to excel as long as I believed that's how it should be.
Right.
So Tantra, the very first Tantra session broke something deep inside me to break the model that I needed to codepend, and offered me independence, which made room for me to have a healthy relationship.
You're saying a lot. I mean, it's power packed what you're saying, because a lot of people feel still stuck. Their partner has to please them. If the partner doesn't please them, again, it's the partner's fault. So again, all this self-responsibility that you're talking about, breaking the pattern of codependence. Excellent. So, so from that minute on, did you know you would teach Tantra? Did you took to it like a duck to water?
No, I went back into that hole that I guess I'm here to protect the Tantrikas now. Now I thought I was going to be a temple guardian. You see? So in my dysfunction around that, I was being told that I should be teaching. I mean, almost immediately, it's like, this is in you. You were born with this. And there was desire for me to be exploring it on a deeper level, but I was kind of playing it small because I didn't feel that was me. There was so much inside of me around my energy and my ability to share my energy. I just didn't have the self-esteem, and I knew how to give, but I didn't know how to receive. And so the moment that I shifted that, things changed within me, and I needed to acclimate. I needed to get my lay of the land with that newness. So rather than reaching right out and helping other people, I was still pretty self-serving and having my own experience, my own journey. But I had teachers that were pretty much sure that this is what I should be doing for a living. And then the very first time I taught I was tricked. I was actually tricked to teach something about NLP. And so I went up there, did this little talk, which it was in my wheelhouse. I could easily teach NLP to a room full of tantrikas, but then the main teacher kept me up on stage and wouldn't let me go, and I was forced to start sharing some of my own experiences and my own wisdom that was coming through from my journey, and thus was born a tantric teacher.
I love this. I love that you were tricked and you did good. I want to go back for a minute, because not everybody understands what NLP is, neuro-linguistic programming. And it is a handy thing to have, and it could be, sometimes it could be used for the wrong purposes, sometimes it's used for the right purposes. But you want to just say a little something about that so people can get a full understanding of NLP? No, Not
Sure.
a full understanding, a little understanding of NLP.
Yeah, a snippet. Well, basically, what for me, what NLP has been the greatest gift that I've gotten, that I've received from it, is to learn how to have